My name is Rhapsody, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. Alright.
Hello. What can I do for you, officer?
I'm looking for a suspect. Have you happened to see a woman with red hair who seemed to be on the run?
I'm afraid not, officer. I've been digging around these reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be entirely honest.
Lieutenant takes a short look at his notebook and then gestures you to proceed. Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Well, it's a damn difficult thing to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds, laying traps for it.
What makes it so difficult? I know it's invincible, but what makes it so difficult?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. It's, in this case, the reeds.
He looks around.
Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have developed other specialized techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our case.
What sort of specialized techniques is the phasmid using to protect itself?
It's my hypothesis that it's evolved a certain electrochemical defenses that allow it to interfere with animal perception. Indeed, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I can't describe how these defenses work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to note that there's something paranatural about this phasmid. We already know it's invisible. We heard from someone else. How big is the phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One of the known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea juensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So...
Why are you so interested in this stick bug? It doesn't seem as colorful as some of the other cryptids I've heard about. He flashes you a sideways smile.
Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology would give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of any cryptozoologist's career. How to study it and its defenses, find out how long it stayed hidden, and...
He shakes his head. What have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is on first and third hand accounts.
Not second hand accounts? Not you? So no one's ever found one?
Not yet.
He holds up an index finger.
That's what makes it a cryptid.
Lieutenant interjects. Just out of curiosity, if there's no proofs of its existence, how do you know it's real?
Well, I know it's real,
The cryptozoologist says, brusquely enough, as though he even seems to have been taken aback by it. It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean,
He says, gathering himself.
I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly in the Insulindian phasmid and more than superstition.
What would it be like to grasp and hold on to something you think is next to you, or just behind you, like a trace of vapor you exhaled one spring morning as a child? That's what he's searching for. A spectre. Lena said there's a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for the species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
Maybe the Insulindian phasmid has died out? The cryptozoologist shakes his head vigorously.
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Really? Got it. Parthenosis. Parthenogenesis? Isn't that just replication without any other material? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions.
The male is a deficient life form. The world would be better off if women didn't need men to reproduce. Oh god, that's a pretty staunch line right there. Maybe a bit too spicy for me. This arouses no special feelings in me. That's pretty clever.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect indeed. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I try my best to remain dispassionate.
Tell me more about these traps.
Well,
He points to the cage of mesh and wiring on the ground.
they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Lena designed the trap?
Yes,
He says with some pride. How'd the traps work?
simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawl into the funnel, and having eaten its fill, can't get out. At least that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
What are you using as bait?
Locusts!
He gestures toward the traps.
Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that ancient Indian phasmid may occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over each other in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be part of the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? That seems unlikely. A carnivorous stick insect? Seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We've also included plant matter in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
Not a big fan of skepticism, this one. What do you do if the traps don't work?
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We've given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing. Let me ask you about something else.
Yes? What?
Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But we can't leave before we've finished with these traps.
He looks south where Lena would be.
My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Mark. We've been out here soaking for days. It's time to go back.
I forgot his voice.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not!
He yells in response.
I won't let Lena down.
Come on. Who wants us back? I'm soaked up to my nuts in here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife says a special connection to the phasmid somehow. I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena.
Oh, it's very important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting on record. Only one of 4 this century, and it's hers.
She's seen it? Really? She sighted the phasmid. She didn't tell me that.
Yes.
I finally have my actual art degree.
Yes. That's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
He coughs, then continues. Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmidoid.
Suffice it to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the ancient Indian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Another cough into his fist this time. Maybe you should go to the whirling warm-up and come back to check the traps later.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea in the hostel?
He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting. What if we check the traps for you? He looks at you with obvious surprise.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
We're looking for someone hiding on this coast. Looking for another thing may lead us to her. Why not? The lieutenant shrugs. At least it will give us the excuse to look for to look into a lot of reeds.
That it will?
The man cracks an unwieldy smile.
That it absolutely will. I hope you bought your good boots.
Where are the traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south on the peninsula, by the tiny boathouses there.
He points south.
It's very near. Another is in Land's End, to the northeast.
So that Land's End is part of this peninsula. Good.
It's behind a small sand dune there on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them...
He gestures to the trap in front of him.
You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just set it. This one's more of a technicality, but better safe than sorry.
What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of the traps?
Bring it to me at once! I just must make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim his find but he's lying about this to even himself. What if I encountered the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do,
He takes out a small white can.
I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's a mixture of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting away at the sight of you. It's quite potent. It'll last about a week.
Lay it on me! He douses you with an odd smelling spray and then gives you a satisfied nod. Lieutenant wrinkles his nose. I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it... Oh, sorry. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious, like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
He looks at the lieutenant with disdain and then puts his spray bottle back in his pocket. I'm ready. Let's get to it. Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the Whirling. Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally! That was talking sense!
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will begin breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now is the time to ask. We'll be gone once we get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have another time for that later. But what if the information is vital on the hunt? What about the eagerly friend Gary there? Talk to him too, perhaps. Yeah. How'd you become a cryptozoologist?
I've always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
He seems reluctant to open up, talk about himself, but he'll open up if you prod a little. So you're just living your childhood dream out here. His eyes narrow.
It's not child's play just because I trape through the mud every so often.
Why not just be a zoologist? Real animals are puzzling too.
Real?
He scoffs at the concept.
I know you think one is a respectable profession and while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
Cryptozoology does seem like a lot of wishful thinking.
My methods are exactly the same as those of other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence, and I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Yeah, a wider variety of evidence, by which you include anecdotes as evidence. Has anything truly surprising ever happened to you? For, plain existence of things, at least.
I have yet to catch a cryptid, if that's what you're getting at, but I've come close.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call. What kinds of evidence do you use?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts like the one that brought us to look for this here phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't. You think other scientists don't listen to the ordinary people enough?
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration. Not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot. Both the field and basement archives can be a dangerous place.
So you've never discovered a cryptid?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered. It's not for lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
So how many cryptids have been found?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoology Zoological Society of Chemney, which is about 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries, the rest are differing in stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Only 2 have been proven to be real? I've got to change this guy's voice. I didn't think he was going to be talking this long, and it's actually kind of like stressing my voice too.
Yes, the Sharkutan forest pygmy turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and the cave salamander from Yugograd, which is honestly quite remarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, even more so than the public. Most cryptids are hoaxes and they're never found. That does not mean one should stop searching.
2 out of every 4,000 is not even 1%.
In fact, it is 0.05. Ever more magnificent should our search contribute to the making of that number 0.075.
He's clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion. Thank you for explaining that. Now, about something else. Let's talk about specific cryptids.
All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what...
We would have to discuss, he wants to say. But he decides against it, since you've offered to help. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you heard from Lena or from his friend Gary. He won't just talk. Which cryptid do you almost catch? You said before that you almost caught one.
A willow person. Long story. Non-specialists would find it quite dull.
Willow people? Not at all. What are willow people?
Not people, really. Some argue that they're not even animals, as they seem to evolve directly from trees.
He says it in a self-explanatory, everyday manner.
They're very, very thin, almost flat, in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here.
Wait, so how many people have seen these willow people without knowing it?
You probably have.
How did you almost catch a willow person?
Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a very bright lavender color. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting and hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees. A lavender shadow dashed through the grove.
And then?
I chased it with a net. Not very elegant, but it got me yellowing in the field, and it was faster than me.
The lavender shadow, he smirks.
I know you think we're snacking on some funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than it is to admit the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore,
He raises his finger.
I am not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of the things that goes into confirming such things. There's a serious possibility I saw a squirrel or a trick of the right. I am my own harshest critic.
He makes a real point there. To sound falsifiable. And Lena's sighting of a phasmid, is that?
Confirmed!
He replies quickly.
It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of authentic cryptid sighting.
I know all about the kind green ape. Look, I even have a kind green ape pen.
I see you've been talking about cryptids with Lena.
He smiles.
The kind green ape is one of her favorites.
A warm wave passes over him. Of course, the kind green ape is her favorite, he thinks.
We traveled to South Salford to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm, though, and had to spend most of our day there in a little village. The search was fabulously unsuccessful, and the people were very nice. I'm glad they didn't understand what Gary was saying about them.
What? South Southborough? Just a different rock on the ladder. I had no problem with them.
Really? You kept complaining how dirty everything is, but we digress.
Just a nice and culture. I feel comfortable. Hey, change the topic anyway. Talk about you critters or whatever.
He mumbles something. Yes, back to cryptozoology. You don't want to sow disagreement between friends. I know about the most dangerous cryptid, the gnome of Jeroma.
Formerly the most dangerous, but do you know the most dangerous living cryptid?
He does not want to make it feel like you knowing it is some big deal. I can try to guess.
Believe me, you won't guess it. You either know or you don't. And if you know, and if you don't know, now you know.
He corrects his hat and says, as if it's the most sensible thing in the world.
The most dangerous cryptid is the carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dreadmoose.
The dreadmoose?
Yes, the dreadmoose subsists entirely on flesh. It's even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance.
Hold on, does it also attack people?
Human remains have been found in the forest, torn apart and trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will.
Okay, what's it look like?
Like an ordinary Arden moose.
How do you know if it's the ordinary or dread kind?
You can't! That makes it so dreadful. That's what makes it so dreadful, rather, and hard to identify.
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's completely kidding, right? I'm not completely sure about the dread moose.
The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more.
What other evidence?
A recent surge in moose population. As hidden carnivores, the dread moose are effectively removing competition for both themselves and their evolutionary cousins.
But why would it need to hide its carnivorous nature?
Mooses are already being hunted for sport. Can you imagine what would happen if they came to be viewed as predators?
What exactly is the relationship between carnivorous moose and regular moose?
The carnivorous moose are a very young species, and the result of a genetic mutation that fared well in the process of natural selection. It makes sense that a majestic animal with natural weapons, antlers, could rule the forest. The only strange thing is it took so long.
Are there any reliable eyewitness accounts of a moose killing other animals for food?
One slaughterhouse in the outskirts of the woods in Vasa said, reported that its staff kept seeing moose in the distance. The moose would just stare at the building as if they were waiting for something, its eyes bloodshot and full of cruelty.
I'm not sure I'm buying it.
But that's not all. Some of the slaughterhouse apprentices went hiking on a nearby creek and saw a moose nibbling on an unidentified carcass.
This isn't something unique. Various species of deer have been known to scavenge when plant food is scarce. Yeah, no information about whether or not it was winter, which would imply plant food being scarce.
Anyway,
He settles down.
there's more than enough evidence to justify a thorough search of the dread moose. Let's close this subject before it turns into an argument.
Here's a man who's had more than his fair share of heated arguments and would, surprising as it may seem, prefer not to have any more. I'd like to know about the Cryobacter kitlensis.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mianu being the first talk of the town of all the time.
Sorry,
Being the talk of a town for the time.
he coughs into his fist.
Although, probably, because his life ended as a result of his work in Katla, no one remembers his contributions to the search for the Nyong Ok.
The Nyong Ok?
A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Islands. Whose long legs permit the Nyong Ok to run faster than any other avian, perhaps any other animal, who knows? When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Ok hangs from the tree branches like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor.
Oh, that's not a Nyong Ok. That, my friend, is a drop bear. I'm familiar with those. Extremely dangerous. Be worried about them if you ever come to Australia.
Mianu liked extreme animals, you see? One of the few figures of academic research I respect. Really a shame she disappeared.
When did she disappear?
Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. A chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side.
Just tell me about a cool cryptid. Any cryptid.
No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't even know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to get back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people's person, unless you haven't noticed, and I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence.
He brushes an errant strand of hair from his eye. Enough tales then, let's change the subject. I'll get going. Got an actual art degree, finally. Trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliche, and gonorrhea-ridden paean to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crimes should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. Uninformed reimagining of limp-wristed, premature, ill-informed attempt at talentless fuckfest. Recidivist shit peddler. Pedantic, listless, savagely boring. Just one repulsive laugh from another. -1 to hand-eye coordination, hands shake from anger at how shit it all is. Conceptualization passives heal 1 morale and give 10 experience. I assume that's passes, not passives. I actually don't really want the art degree. I kind of want to pop something else in there. My homosexual underground is almost done. Finally. The soggy logs smell of ignition fluid. Still, they won't light up. It's almost impossible to get a fire going this near the ocean.
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer. Yellow man. I mean, officer.
Yikes! The lieutenant raises his eyebrow slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man? Interesting. This is probably something to ask about after a little probing
I'm
first.
just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization.
So this guy is a savage racist. Like, I figured it in the, like...
Good that he couldn't hear.
Oh! Gary the Cryptofascist! Oh! I didn't even see the name! You suck, Gary! Giant piece of shit. Not a lover of the great outdoors?
I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
I want to be able to, like, spot all the Cryptofash stuff that he does over the course of it, right? So, obviously, like... It's not super crypto to just, like, look at someone of Asian descent and then just say yellow man. That's just outright racist, but degenerate is a word that is almost exclusively used currently on the internet in like crypto-fascistic circles. Degenerate. This man respects authority too much to see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue. Yeah, I don't want to get in good with the crypto-fash. Drunks and degenerates. That's my crew.
Dark times will do that to good men.
He nods gravely and then shifts his gaze to the pile of soggy logs at his feet. Serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is. Is this your mug? Hold up the yellow man mug. Mug? Why would you think that? His eyes widened at the sight of the mug. He's seen it before, all right? I can see you recognize it. It's in your eyes. I may have had a similar looking mug in the past. That's all. Just admit it. You put the mug in the trash container behind the whirling. Okay. Yes, I did. I know I shouldn't have. I'm very sorry, officer. He pauses. You're not going to find me, are you? I am. Rip out a fine slip. For 250 real. The maximum. Oh, God. 200? How am I going to pay that? He looks at this slip of yellow copy paper and then gets a hold of himself. Okay, I'll work harder. I'll pay it off, I promise. This is a considerable expense to him. 1 month's wage, most likely. Yeah, screw you, man. I will inconvenience you in every way I have the capability to. We are diametrically opposed, you and I. It is, in a way, admirable how quickly he composes himself after such a blow. This man digs authority, even when it's bullying him.
And I'll never do it again. I don't know what got into me, really. Work's just been stressful lately. Damn Costco's price dumping us out of competition. What did you do to Gary? Nothing! No, nothing. Just answering some questions, helping out the law.
Helping out the law. Yeah, no, he'll go higher. How'd you get into the trash container? I know a guy who works in the crash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key to the crash container in Martinez. Why would anyone need to get in everyone's trash? So I can use the whirling trash compactor to store my own stuff, he says, bowing shamefully like a fallen knight. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. And damn Imians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself. Disgraced? The lieutenant raises up his eyebrows and looks. No need for histrionics, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container. He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer. Gary, did you put the clothes of a murder victim, the man who was hanged behind the whirling and rags, into that trash container?
Officer, please.
He raises both hands.
Let me explain. It's not like that.
Do.
I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard, and where he was hanged, I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes smelling around in the yard, lying there. People are animals, you know.
Okay, then what happened?
Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the whirling's trash along with the broken mug and merely...
He changes his mind mid-sentence.
Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right, it was just about civic duty. The lieutenant remarks drolly.
Exactly! That's what it was about. Civic duty.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about the missing armor for the victim, would you?
Armor? No.
He changed his mind.
I mean, yeah, I know he's wearing armor. I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit any more wrongdoing. There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded. Fair enough.
I hope I could help your investigation some small way.
He's relieved it's over. Do you know anything about the man behind the whirling rags?
I told you everything I know. I'm truly sorry for that mug, but I have nothing to do with it.
He shifts uncomfortably in his clothes. He's not feeling too comfortable in his own skin. Odd, I'd say. Uncomfortable shifting doesn't make him the killer, though. It's something else. Are you a cryptozoologist, too?
No. I help morale with research sometimes. I've learned some things along the way, but I usually don't go into picnics like this on my own.
There's probably a follow-up on this, but you can't think of any. Doesn't matter. Waste of time anyway. Gotta keep moving. You were surprised to see my colleague, Kitsuragi.
Not many sea lights here. Or anywhere. Other than Seoul. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how we met Measurehead, and I said the next racist will be the really good one? Yes. Well, he gestures towards Gary as if he was presenting a work of art. This is that racist. He's nothing compared to Measurehead.
I don't know who that is, he blushes. All I meant is there's not many sea lights around here.
Do you have a problem with sea lights?
No, no problem at all.
He flashes an impenetrable smile at Kim. I think I'll go through these conversations in the alternate ways as well. Still seems suspicious that you don't know this mug. Did I mention the mug was found at the scene of a lynching? Okay, I admit it. Yeah, so he just goes to that. I'm gonna find him again? Boom. It's exactly the same conversation. I want his key, though. So my composure increases when I remove things from my hand, right? Because of my other skill. Right, I have a thought that increases my composure when I have things on me. No, it's suggestion that increases. Okay. Do I have anything that increases my composure though? Yep, those shoes do. You'd assume there'd be a pair of glasses that would. Evidently so far not.
Always a pleasure. I mean, officers.
I mean, I can't just leave him to walk away.
We'll be on our way soon.
Yeah.
Thank you again for lending a hand.
Let's see if I can get any more information here. Have you noticed anything off about your friend Gary?
Huh? No, of course not. Why?
You sure?
Well,
He lowers his voice.
he's been a little unenthusiastic about the trip, more so than usual. But that's understandable. He wants to get home and warm up.
He doesn't want to say it, but it is unusual. Gary's been to the jungle with him, to places way more challenging than the coast. Why is he going to go home? That might give us a little bit more information or a bonus to our role here.
Always a, I mean, officers.
Got it. That shirt looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons, barely keeping that thing together as though something is ready to rip out underneath. His massive musculature? No, something worn underneath it. Sounds like he's wearing some kind of armor under his clothes. You can't tell it's there just from looking at him. Probably stolen from the corpse in the yard where he lives. I see you're a connoisseur of high-quality combat gear. He freezes, then sighs heavily. I knew you'd figure out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. He unbuttons the shirt. You see the gleaming white ceramic shine underneath. Thin layers of interlocking plates cover his gaunt torso. I was ashamed of what I did. I didn't want you to know. We're not detecting falsehoods here, sire. He's gearing up to admit the truth. This shame is surprisingly sincere.
Hey, what's going on?
Later, Morrow. I got some apologizing to do.
No. You have some explaining to do. The lieutenant's tone is icy. Why did you lie to me, Gary? Because I was weak, he says, staring at nothing in particular. I should have told you the moment I saw you, but...
The hell, Gary? You're in trouble.
I'll explain later.
He doesn't muster up the strength to yell. Why did you really put those clothes in the trash?
Everyone was picking pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. And they scattered the clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling.
He looks at the feet. At his feet.
So I went there to take my trash out and start cleaning up. All those rags there on the ground, him swinging up there, and a lapse of honour, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left, so I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning, no one saw me. Took it with me. It was a mistake. And I know it'd give you guys trouble. I wouldn't have.
His lips started quivering.
Fuck.
We're detecting sincere contrition here. He's not trying to flatter anyone. It's okay. The lieutenant jots something down in his notebook. It was a loose end, and you're tying it up now.
So fuck it off. Sorry I called you Yellow Man.
He says silently. Sorry, this is how he pronounced it. According to that stage direction there.
See you like officers commanded the Serenian Navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
He shakes his head. They were thoroughly conservative men, he realizes suddenly. It's difficult to say what the lieutenant thinks of this historic apology. His face does not belie emotions. Give me the armor, now. He sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it's in your hands, smelling of his sweat. But so light to hold, like a bag of cotton. Do you know who killed the hanged man?
I always thought it was a union. Some union hardasses. Lynched him because of a strike. But almost everyone in town knows that. I wish I could tell you more.
He shakes his head. This is all he knows. Are we done here, Gary?
Yep, absolutely. I'll never do anything like this again.
He looks around, relieves of the burden, his mouth still quivering. Thank you for your cooperation. Fairweather T500 Cuirass. This vitreous enamel cuirass fits snugly and redistributes kinetic energy across its countless white plates. Amazingly, it fits under your coat. And it also makes a pretty porcelain sound when shaken. Oof. Looks damn good on me too. Ooh, baby. Found Pipo. The small wire framing inside this futuristic-looking found Pipo hat gives it the aerodynamic shape of swoop skier's helmet, but none of the protective qualities. Covers the wearer's ears and eyebrows to bring down the drag coefficient. These heavy military blockades are riddled with bullet holes, crumbling. Inland Empire, there's a patch of reeds over there. It's a great place to hide something, kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. Wait, I can't see anything interesting. You don't have a reason to. Yet? What is this about? Nothing, just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there like an old boy bubbling in the water. Time to go. A boy bobs in the water. The number says on it, 11. Well, guess we're coming back here at some point. So apparently, there's one of the traps. Good. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Moral set before. Same mesh, same wiring. Look around. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building loom over the reeds. They whisper amongst themselves confidentially. Snowflakes cling to the shivering stems. Reach for the trap. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them. Big surprise. The lieutenant says, grins mirthlessly. Anyway, one down, 3 more to go. No need to grin. I'm not expecting to find anything. I'm just helping some citizens and getting some fresh air. I meant no offense. Just... The lieutenant doesn't know how to finish the sentence. He looks at you before putting the trap back on the ground. Right. Well, we've gone down this way already. So Land's End, right? I mean, we can check this, right? We were told we can check this after we check the first one. Look around. The reeds by the abandoned campsite sway and tremble, while the snow falls all around. Reach for the trap. The trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside. Another empty trap. The lieutenant takes note, more out of habit than duty. again, I want to make it absolutely clear that I don't believe the phasmid exists, okay? Of course not. Noted. He looks at you incredulously as you place the the trap back in the reeds. All right. Let's see if we can... What is on this side, actually? You're taking someone to have a look at this? You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make it out. Feld Electrical R&D. Alright. That seems like it's going to take a little bit more investigation. We are at the end of the episode, so for the moment, my name is Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Disco Elysium. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves. There's a playlist in the description down below with all my content of the game, past, present, and future, and hopefully we'll see you next time.